Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I am reviewing Oppenheimer. This is the fifth movie, I believe, in our Oscar Best Picture nomination review series. Oppenheimer is sort of different from the rest of the movies that we've talked about. So Barbie is a movie that I had watched one other time, and so when I went to watch it for the review, I had watched it for the second time. Oppenheimer, this is actually my third go through. I watched it once in theaters with Barbie. I watched it once with my family afterwards, and now I'm watching it for the third time. Oppenheimer is directed by Christopher Nolan, who is one of my favorite directors, probably my favorite all time, but that's definitely subject to change as I get more and more invested into different types of movies and some of the better films of our time. So let's talk first off, probably the number one thing that people talk about are the performances in this movie. Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr.'s name a few. Um, Everyone in the cast, it wasn't just those three, it was everyone in the cast really played their part to perfection. It's very, very hard to get an ensemble cast and have everyone do an amazing job. And I think that Oppenheimer is unique in the sense that it's able to do that. Um, Robert Downey Jr.'s a big standout for me. He obviously is best known for playing Tony Stark in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's obviously my favorite role that he's in. I'm very familiar with Marvel. It's one of my most favorite franchises. So to see Robert Downey Jr. in a different role, obviously Tony Stark is sort of an asshole, but he's also sort of a decent, good person. So to kind of just see him kind of not be a good person, a little sneaky, a little deceptive. He still shows off some of that charisma that he has, Tony Stark, but he shows it in a different way. And it's where I can really see, okay, Robert Downey Jr. is for real. Like he has got incredible range. So I think that that's an important part of the movie to kind of show that. Obviously, Cillian Murphy is incredible as Oppenheimer, and I've been very much on his um he's been on my radar since I first watched the Dark Knight trilogy when I was very little. Cillian Murphy has just always stood out to me as one of the most underrated actors. Now he's finally getting his day in the sun. The pacing of this movie is just phenomenal. Obviously, this is a 3 hour movie, but honestly, it doesn't really feel like it. And even if, like, I would say it definitely feels long, but 3 hours, not really 3 hours long. I just think that this movie is perfect in the way that it chooses to tell its story. The chronological um order is kind of all over the place, and that's obviously by design, but it makes the movie a little bit more put together at the end of the day. Um, I think that stuff like that is sort of important to mention that hey, like um, uh, Christopher Nolan tries this different approach, and obviously he's very familiar with kind of telling stories out of order, but the way that he does it in this movie sort of makes it more mainstream. I Obviously he directed Memento, and we talked about that, and how obviously that movie's not really told fully in chronological order. So Oppenheimer sort of does the same thing, but in a different manner and for a more mainstream audience. Um, there's interesting color usage to differentiate between the two main stories that we're really talking about here. One is about Oppenheimer getting a security clearance, another is Oppenheimer building the bomb with the rest of the team at Los Alamos. Now, in my opinion, I think that the color is actually it's interesting because it's sort of the opposite of what you would expect. The security, not even the security clearance. I apologize. It's more of the um nomination for Strauss. Um, you would expect that to be in color because it takes place a little bit further into the timeline than the scenes at Los Alamos and the security clearance, which is in color. But I think that again, it's by design. It's meant to throw you off. It's meant to sort of disorient yourself and then realize later on what's happening. So the first time I watched this movie, I really did give it like an 8. I said, it's Oppenheimer. I had watched Barbie beforehand. I thought that was a vastly superior movie, and obviously now I feel differently. Barbie is really, really good. It's worthy of the Best Picture nomination. Right now, it's the second runner-up in my list, I believe. Yes, it would be. Oppenheimer is better than Barbie. Where does it rank compared to past lives? That's kind of what I was thinking as I was watching the movie, was kind of like, I know this is going to be a very high rating for me. Is it better than past lives? Past lives, I feel like I've been overrating it just slightly. And so I am going to give Oppenheimer a 9.9 out of 10, the same rating as past lives, but I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to say that Oppenheimer is better than past lives despite it continuing to have the same rating. Um, One other note I want to mention is, I have two notes I want to mention as we kind of get into the epilogue of this review. The music is phenomenal. I don't want to not give it its day in the sun. I love the music in this movie, and I also love um, that this is a period piece done right. I talk about it in Poor Things. I talk about it in Maestro. I don't like period pieces. So it's really funny that this is almost certainly going to end up becoming my best picture right now, um, despite it being a period piece. But I think that when it's set in the past, I tend to not enjoy it as much. I tend to not really care as much. Oppenheimer made me care about the past, and only a director as skillful as Nolan could really do that. So I think this movie deserves Best Picture. I think it is just slightly better than Past Lives. Um, if either movie gets the win, I'd be very happy. We still have another 5 movies to go, so who knows? I could end up making more 9.9s. Maybe there's a perfect 10. Maybe there's movies that I feel like are better, but I also don't feel like are 9.9s, and then I kind of have to move around everything. Um, my ratings are obviously subject to change as I grow and change my opinions. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If so, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. I know that most of you have watched Oppenheimer, so let me know how you felt about the movie. Maybe you're on your third time as well watching it. And I love you all. I'll see you guys in the next Oscar nominations review episode. Peace.